Hello and thank you for tuning in to Pilot Savvy Tech Tuesday. In this video, we're going to discuss configuring multiple displays on Microsoft Windows. My name is Chris. Let's get started. So you've probably seen multiple display setups on a lot of the videos, including my own. With this multiple displays set up in your simulators, whether it be Microsoft or X-Plane. I use X-Plane 11 and 12, more recently X-Plane 12. And to do so, you have to first allow Windows to recognize that you have multiple displays. So I'm doing a video on that, and it also has a companion guide in my media wiki, and the easiest way to get there is to go, let me move myself out of the way here so that you can get a better view. And here we go. Okay, so we're at the main page. I'm also going to leave a link there, but this is going to show you where there's multiple other knowledge bases in my media wiki as well. So here we go to click on the knowledge base button. That takes you to the Pilot Savvy Media Wiki page. And for this video, we're going to be on the flight sim. Oh, sorry, not that one. That's another video. Flight sim and upgrades, build and upgrades. And we scroll down and we're looking at the one for configuring Windows multiple displays. Now this is something I know a lot of you out there already have done this here, and I've known about it for some years now, but I remember when I didn't know. So as simple as this may seem for some, it's not the same case with the number of people. I was one of those hundreds of thousands of people or more who did not know how to do all this. I started out with one monitor, and I knew that it was possible. I had to do a lot of research and asking questions, and I did it in a time when there was the internet, but it was nothing like it is now, and it definitely was not a such thing as AI. So I have a guide here, but I'm going to show you just the quick way of getting straight to it, and but I'll go through as much as possible. So it's not a whole lot in the process. I don't like to use the term straightforward because nothing is straightforward to everyone. So I'm going to right click on the desktop and go to display settings, and then you see it pulls up a menu of displays. So these are my displays. I have a total of 6 displays. So I'm running Windows 11, and so it's capable of handling 6 monitors. I think the previous ones had a limit of 4 monitors, maybe. Someone can correct me, or I don't remember exactly, but there was a limit, and it was not 6. 6, you had to load some things. There's things you can do. You can pretty much make a computer do whatever you want it to do, but the question is, do you have the having the knowledge to do so? So what I have here, this is the first screen that you'll see, and I have you can hit the ID button and actually look on your screen. Let me see if you can see it here. I'm going to hit identify, and you see that number 1. You should be able to see the number 1 showed up. You're looking at this. You're looking at screen number 1, the main screen, and it also, so that's an external monitor, and so is number 3 and 4. That's how I view them in X-Plane. And then this is number 2 and 6. That's my multi-function primary flight display and multi-function display. And those are my G1000s. They show up as displays. And then above here, that's the one that you'll see. That's I refer to that as my studio. That's OBS. So when you see me look over to the right here, I'm actually looking at that as well. Yep. Okay, so now let's go down and see what we have here. And so this is just giving you a visual of what this is talking about. Feel free to pull that up, print it out, and we're gonna continue going down the line. So you have some options. So quick and dirty, you get these displays, and Microsoft is going to recognize them automatically, and you drag and drop. Let me show you how I did this here. So I'll play with the one on top. Actually, sometimes you may get them and they're like all around. I don't want to mix them up and you lose track of what number as well. But you can drag them here, and what that does is what they are in relation to these this arrangement. What that means is this is how you drag. So we're on display number 1, and the way this is laid out, I could actually drag things down to my multi-function display. Anything I have on my main display, like this has, let's do this. You can't see it here, and I don't have it set up to where you can see my multi-function display, but I'm dragging this down from the number 1, and I'm able to read this document on my multi-function display. So I'm bringing it back up here. Get it back over there. We don't really need this to do this part. So I'm going to put this back where it goes. How you arrange this is approximately how you're going to see it in X-Plane or Microsoft Flight Sim. Is pretty much the same way, if I recall. But I haven't used Microsoft Flight Sim in a while, and when I did, the last one I did was the CD version. Believe it or not, it was the X, Microsoft X. And so let's go ahead and continue on. So highlighting this. Okay, I'm going to show you here. You see this here checkbox that is grayed out now, but it says make this my main display. Right now it's defaulted, so it's already grayed out. So let's say I choose the multifunction display. You see how that check went away? I have the option of making any of those check boxes, any of these displays, my primary. And what that means is when you turn on the computer, you fire up the computer, the operating system, it's going to come to that monitor. So if I select this one, I can do this one. This is my number 3, so the display on the left, and I can click that check mark, and that's, I didn't want to do that. Let me put it back. But good learning opportunity here. You saw how it did it. So what's going on here? You see that's grayed out now, so it thinks my number. It moved my icons to my number 3 monitor on the left. I'm looking off on the left. Let me see. I'm going to show you how it looks there. I'm going to switch you over to the left view, and you see those icons. They disappeared, and now they're here on the left. So it doesn't always do that instantly. Let's get this back where it's supposed to be. And if you ever run into any problems where it doesn't move the displays after you move things around, don't worry about it. I'm glad that happened, because it's a lot. It resonates louder when you see it happen. So I reselected the monitor that. Well, let me get back here and get it back where you can see what I'm doing. Let's go back to the main screen. There we go. Okay. So I have display number 1 selected again, and now I'm going to make this the main display. Make this my main display. Do that. Bam. Abracadabra. They're back. So now you see the displays on the main monitor, number 1 monitor again. And some of the other options you have is, let's go down the line, is remember the window locations based on monitor connections. And you have a minimize window when the monitor is disconnected. I use some of these features on my laptop, different things that happen. Like if I plug my laptop in to my computer, not my flight sim, I have it connected to external monitors, and when I close the display on my laptop, that one of my external monitors become my main monitor. When I turn my laptop on or open it, that display that's on the laptop display becomes my primary. So you have all that control that Windows gives you to make those decisions. And I'm gonna go down here and show you some of the main things. This is one of the main things there. So you have different monitors, different display cards have different display capabilities. So this is set to 100%. It's a 32-inch monitor, and they give you a recommended settings. So 1920 by 1080 is the recommended resolution. That's not always the best, even though the computer may think it's the best. I have several different, over the period of time, I've used several different displays, and they have their own habits, as the best I can describe it. And I know someone can leave comments and tell us about your experiences as well. But sometimes it may be better to use one of these other settings. Like there's one of the popular ones is 1024 by 768, and all of them don't have it. So this for instance is the ones that are for my G1000 displays. So gonna move on down. And I did something by accident. Gonna repent. Okay, so whatever I did it by accident because I did not make any changes. Let me go back up here. Yep, I'm still there, and everything looks the same still. And I'm moving on down and going to what do we do? We already did that. You can change the orientation. There are some instruments, display instruments on flight simulators, Microsoft and X-Plane, and you can change it. So you might portrait, landscape is the default setting, but some you may need to put in portrait format. Here's an example. I'm flying the Diamond simulator, the DA50 simulator. In the center of the simulator, okay, most G1000s you just have the comm panel, but in addition to the comm panel, in between the G1000s on the real sim, I don't have that instrument, but that may change. You actually want to use the portrait configuration because you want to display the long way top and bottom, and that is for the standby instruments. It has your airspeed, altimeter or something. I forget which ones they are, but you have those there, and you may need to change the configurations. So when I get that, maybe I'll do a video on how to set that up. So I'm gonna leave it at landscape. Got lucky this time. I didn't click on anything by accident and get a message asking if I want to save that or revert. Okay, so we got advanced display rate. So you don't normally have to mess with the display rate or anything like that. So I've never, there are some rare occasions that I've had to go through. Each of us see different. A lot of people see different. And I've actually gotten trouble calls where someone has, says, hey, my display is blurry. And I've gone, this is with my tech hat on. I show up at their desk and I see that, I'm looking at a perfectly fine monitor. Everything is in focus and everything for me. But some individuals, they have a problem with this 60 hertz. So there's some options to change them, as you can see. You have 60, you can move down or you can move up. So 59.94 may be just enough for that frequency change, because we do everything. Our bodies operate off electrical impulses. Sometimes it's not in sync with 60 hertz. And I've seen, at first I thought the customer was like joking around, But I saw he was serious, and it's like, hey, I can't get my job done because I get this monitor. This monitor needs to be replaced. But that's one of the rare times, and doing flight sim, you may have that same issue. So you go here and you tweak around with these numbers. There's no magic number. Just like when you go to the eye doctor, they can't tell you, yep, you need these glasses. They have to examine you first. So how does a tech examine the computer user? By going through each one of these and asking for the results. And different people are different. Like I said, maybe the glasses without glasses, it can differ, I guess. And so I've resolved some problems that way. And going back here, that's the only time I've had to come here and make any change. But it's good to know that this exists, because you may be trying to solve another problem and it says something about the hertz, and you will remember, hey, there's a document on the Pilot Savvy wiki site that talks about that. So all of what I'm talking about, you see here, I just don't want to go reading, boring reading step by step. This has some things that I've made. Well, actually, I'm covering more than what this covers. And if you want me to cover something else that I'm not, then feel free to leave a comment, and then I'll make a presentation of for Tech Tuesday, and or anything, any questions you have with simulators. Feel free to send a question. Do I know everything? Heck no. I'll be lying if I said it. And if anyone tells you, oh, I know everything about computers, flight simulators, just ask me and I'll tell you. There's some people more knowledgeable than others. But I've been around the block a few times. There's some things that I've used maybe 10 years ago, and I haven't used it since. So what does that mean? If I knew it at one time, I probably don't remember it right off. But as we start discussing it, lights start to come on, and I can more likely help you. I can't think of a whole lot that I cannot help you with concerning flight simulators. So moving right along. There's the detect button. So sometimes you may be plugged in. You may have other computers plugged in, and you don't see it. At the top here, what we saw, let me go up here, you may not see it. And it's in a number of reasons why you can't. It may just be, it was plugged in, but it didn't play. Microsoft is mostly plug and play, but sometimes it's plug and pray. So what you can do is hit the detect button, and it'll go through and it'll do another check of what's plugged in. Sometimes it catches it, sometimes it doesn't. There's little tricks of the trade, like I've had to go as far as, not just shutting down the computer and starting it up, but shut down the computer, disconnect all but one monitor, start it up, you recognize that one monitor, then you start plugging the other monitors in one at a time, and it'll recognize each one. They'll start showing up without you having to do any more restarts. So that's where do we go? Get back down. Here we go. Detecting wireless displays. They have some wireless. Have you ever used the wireless? Yes, I have used a wireless display. It's called an iPad, but it may pick it up. I haven't used this feature. I've never used this feature. Connect to a wireless display. I've used the feature in X-Plane to connect to my iPad so that I can navigate along the way and use my something like ForeFlight or Navigraph for your flight sim. But ForeFlight you can use for your flight sim and for real flying. That was great about that. When I was actively flying, I could use my same tool that I use for flying. So that kept me honed, my skills honed, so that it's no different, absolutely no different. It connects to the same flight sim, and it shows you where you are in relation to that flight sim, where you are on the map, and you get the same process. You do everything exactly the same, whether it be on the sim or the iPad. I mean a sim or the real plane. Let's continue on. that I think is let's see, scale. Okay, we covered this already, and we talked about the different ratios: zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out, um, display orientation, advanced display, and refresh rate, and all that. Remember, graphics. Okay, yeah, a lot of the stuff you just won't have to use. So, but just it's good to know where it's at, what it does, in case you need it. It really helps with troubleshooting. Like I said, a lot of the stuff I've never needed to do for myself, but I've done it for a lot of customers. So, moving up, back down again. So you have all kind of features there, and so none of these really are needed on a daily basis. But if you're looking for them, this is where they are. And how did I get there? I'm gonna back out and remind you of how I got here. Okay, I went here on the desk, a clear area on the desktop. Don't click it on the display on any icons, because you're gonna get stuff like this. But if you right click on the desktop, then you look for this display settings, and it brings it up. Ta-da! And I think that covers all of what I wanted to cover here. I'm going to glance over, kind of do like I do a walk around on an airplane. I walk around real quick with the checklist in my hand. When I get done with a certain portion, like check the cockpit, get it ready for just the pre-flight thing, so to speak. Make sure your landing gear handle is in the down position, that kind of stuff. You turn your power on, you check your fuel quality, and see if that way when you're doing your walk around, and you want to make sure everything matches. And anyway, kind of like here. So we went through. You notice the detection and arrangement. It's only 1, 2, 3 questions, but we did a lot more. Choose the mode. We went through the modes. Set your main display. We went over that. Scale and layout. We did that. Refresh rate. We did that. Taskbar configuration. I suppose you could put this on the taskbar settings, but that kind of goes beyond the scope of learning how to set up your monitors. That is, now we're getting into making it convenient. And you probably haven't noticed, well, if you looked at some of my work there, I can make things work. That's what I've been doing for decades. I can make things work, but I'm not that good at making it look real pretty all the time. Like, if you say, hey, I can click on my folder and I can get to my files, but my folder is yellow and I want to make it purple. I'll probably give it about 2 minutes of fame, or maybe 5 minutes. And I know just the basics, so that's going to be somewhere in the settings. But I don't like to spend a lot of time to make stuff look pretty. You saw me with the drills and the hacksaw. I'm looking here, and I fixed some of the scratches that I created. Some are still there. Why ain't I worried about it? Because I know I'm going to do some more drilling and cutting, and it's going to be more scratches. So unless it looks ridiculous, I don't really worry about that. Anyway, I'm getting off track for this here. So if you have any questions, hopefully this video covered everything that you need to know about, that you ever wanted to know about using Windows to configure your displays in the Windows environment. This process has been the same for all the Windows operating systems that I can remember, and I'm going way back to Windows NT, Windows 98. I'm going way back. The first versions of Windows 95. That was actually the first modern day Windows. But the process has not changed in all those decades. You right click, you click on display settings, and you have those options. They may have added some additional options in response to some of the reports that they've gotten, some of the help desk tickets that they've received. And they have a really good support line, Microsoft, if you run into problems. So Microsoft would be that. On the next video, I'm gonna cover setting up X-Plane, setting up once you set it up. So it's not going to do any good to zoom to X-Plane to set up the display until you get it set up on Windows. So maybe not the next video in a row, but I'm going to try to get that as the next lineup video. I have some things juggling, and I'm making a effort to kind of put it in priority of importance, and I think that's probably the next important one to get to, is the one for setting up the displays in X-Plane. I'm using X-Plane 12, but it's the same. That's my first version of X-Plane was X-Plane. Which one did I have on the shelf? I think 9 is on the shelf there, my CD for X-Plane 9, but I think it was X-Plane 8 was the first one I used. The process is the same. So anyway, again, my name is Chris with Pilot Savvy. If you have any questions, comments, go ahead and leave comments. If you like the video, and leave me a thumbs up.